the planning board meeting, July 26th, 2016. Do we have to, we're all set, we're ready to roll?
Yeah, so this is
Okay.
another posted meeting that you're opening.
Okay, so this meeting is being cablecast by Area 58 Community Access Media Channel 15. And if we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First on the agenda tonight is an approval not required plan, 80 Makepeace Company, Meadow Street, Assessors Map 87E-3 and C-2 to create one buildable lot and 4 unbuildable parcels. Is there anybody here to yeah, please. Good evening. Sorry to be late, but
It's okay. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jim Kane with the 80 Makepeace Company. We're here this evening asking for the approval of the approval not required, simply to do a little land swap with John Deli, who's also in the audience this evening. Many years ago, we bought the bog and some other land around Edaville, and over the past year, John and I were talking about a couple of different things, and we would like this evening to swap a small parcel that's right next to the main entertainment area of Edaville for a larger piece of land on the western edge of the parcel. We're also adjusting one line so that the easement that Edaville has over our bog parcel is clearly within property of our company. It's rather a lot to do about nothing, it seems to me. I had Beals and Thomas make up a color-coded plan because it fits my abilities more easily to look at colors than it does a real plan. If anybody would like to see this, I'd be more than happy to share it with you.
so it says that you're going to create one buildable lot, which would be Lot E-3A.
Yes,
That's the buildable lot because that has enough frontage to the parcel. So, okay, and then 4 in lot and 4 unbuildable parcels.
yes, the parcel C3B will be used as part of the agricultural holdings. It's a combination of pine and a couple of roads through it that we can use to access the bogs. E2B will go to Edaville, and then our remaining bog, actual and operating bog, C-2A, we'll continue to use and farm, and we have all of our easement rights and other such rights already documented with Edaville.
These are correct in frontage and area?
Yes, so there are 2 sheets to this A&R. That's a little unusual. So on the second sheet are 2 of the unbuildable parcels. On A&R 1 is the buildable parcel as well as the other 2 unbuildable parcels. And I can recommend that the board endorse them as approval under the subdivision control law not required.
So we don't even have to vote on this, do we? We
yeah.
still have to vote on these, even though, yeah, they meet all the requirements. Anybody have any comments? It's unusual in the sense that you have, 2 parcels that aren't connected here, and then you have 2 other parcels here. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that legally.
Mr. Chairman, through you for, I guess, clarity to the applicant. The parcel owned by Kenneth and Rebecca Matizak, 86/13-1, I believe that parcel has changed hands and that he sold that property. Does it matter that
So
it's not clear?
if I can comment on that?
Just this one here, it's just for
Yep.
the plan being correct.
So if the board looks at those labels for these are pulled from the assessors.
Yep.
And the N/F is now or formerly.
Oh, I got you.
So as long as it says N/F, even if it's the prior owner,
I'm good with that. Yeah, that would be the only question, I just was looking at the neighbors.
Anyone else? Any questions or comments? Jim?
No, I'm all set.
Make a motion to endorse.
Second? We don't need a roll call for this.
No, we're done with that for tonight.
All right. Those for endorsement?
Aye.
Aye.
Those against? Ayes have it, it's unanimous. Do we have plans that we're gonna sign later on?
yes, I do.
Okay. All right, I
Thank you very much.
for being here, and thank you. And we'll sign these, the Mylars after,
Yep.
or do you want them before? All right, the next is, we have a public hearing continuance for 80 Makepeace Company. This is the property off of Federal Road, special permit and modification of a definitive plan approval to allow a ground-mounted solar power generating facility of approximately 8.4 megawatts in a residential agricultural district. Zoning bylaw 3100, 3580, 5300, and subdivision rules and regulations for roadway construction standards. So if you would step up.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jim Kane. I'm with the 80 Makepeace Company. We're here this evening seeking your approval of a solar array off of Federal Road. Proposed location is right across from the Ocean Spray facility. I know there was an earlier hearing. I apologize for not being able to attend that. We have, over the course of the last several years, taken advantage of the opportunity for solar in certain areas of our property. We have a couple of facilities in Wareham. We have one just south of this facility in Carver, south of the landfill as well. We think they work in certain areas where they are not directly adjacent to abutters, and we have gone out of our way in this plan and other plans to make sure that we stay out of any wetland impacts, and to the extent we can, as in this case, stay out of any mapped natural heritage and endangered species areas. This involves 35 acres of solar array, clearing of 49 acres. In Carver, we have over 400 acres of upland that's currently open space and an element of it farmed. We did go to the Zoning Board of Appeals and sought and received approval from that board, so there'd be less impact between the three areas and all on our land, not affecting any abutters. In this case, this piece of this project would be, I believe, well over 1,200 feet from its nearest residential abutter. Additionally, I think it's worthy to note that at least on the solar field across from it, south of the landfill, the town received approximately $70,000 in back tax payments as we took that land out of chapter status. If this is approved, the community members will have an option to buy into the solar farm at a rate lower than what they're paying now, and it's indexed, which means it will stay at a constant percentage lower than other utility rates. This array, as proposed, would provide enough energy for 1,200 homes in Carver as well. There's a whole host of other elements to this, such as a facility of this size is the equivalent of removing just under 1,800 cars, and it takes the place of over 640,000 barrels of oil relative to producing the amount of energy. Again, we ask for your support. We think it's consistent with your bylaw, It doesn't adversely impact any neighbors. It produces no new school children for the school system. There's no nitrogen impacts, no water withdrawals or anything along that way. And there's no traffic impact once construction is completed. We respectfully request your approval this evening.
Thank you. We do have letters from Beals and Thomas, and I read through these this afternoon, and seems like most of the questions that Beals and Thomas had were answered. And then we also have that it's going to take, just thought that I'd read this to the board, take about 3 weeks in clearing the trees. Construction time was 7 months, commencement of work, and an additional 3 months, I guess, to construct the panels and obtain utility and local inspections. We do have a memorandum from the Carver Fire Department, and they are satisfied with the emergency vehicle access. There's gates that are on the plan, and they're going to be super box gates. They're going to have signage there for this installation, and they're going to have signs for contact information. And they also, there was also, at the end of all this, there was the truck trips were going to be approximately 2,000 over a period of 8 weeks for the movement of material. So I don't know if does anybody on the board have any questions or comments? I know that I went by the site, and there was a concern about cutting this amount of woodland out there for this solar panel project. And considering where it is and the type of woodland that it is, I didn't think that it was a terrible thing for this to happen. It was just kind of scrubby pine. A lot of the forest out there seems to be weakened by disease, and so I know that was a consideration, and it should be a consideration to the members of the board, and but I just thought I'd put what I saw out there and just put it out on the table for everybody too. There are setbacks, but it was, again, granted by the ZBA. But in this particular case, the property that the solar panel project will be on is also surrounded by the same owner. So it's just another one of those situations that's a little different than I think the solar panel bylaw committee, envisioned. You just, all these different things that come up. So does anybody on the board have any questions or comments?
I have a question on what was granted by ZBA.
Setbacks from the property line of this particular property. Yeah, what were the setbacks?
So this is that directed at me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is,
The only one that can answer it.
well, the applicant could, so
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't want to speak
that's
for
right,
them if
yeah.
they want to
We can
answer
speak
it.
to
Go
that.
ahead, yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
For the
yeah.
record, Sarah Stearns, Beals and Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Richard Cirque, Jim Kane, and I were at the ZBA earlier this month to request relief from the internal lot line setbacks as dictated by the solar bylaw. Everything else in the bylaw has been met by this design. The 200-foot setback within the property, commonly owned property, between the 3 arrays, which due to the size of the arrays need to be on their own lot, so those property lines need to stay. We discussed with the ZBA that adhering to the letter of that solar bylaw with that 200-foot setback on either side, giving 400 feet between each array, really didn't make sense. It was not the most efficient use of the site, ended up clearing significantly more longer roads, more fencing, not utilizing stormwater management appropriately or efficiently. And particularly due to the topography, the extreme topography on the site, it would be very difficult to meet that setback requirement. And so we were granted a variance for that.
To what was the setback that, the distance, what was the distance?
So there's no setback now between the arrays,
For the internal lines.
just the internal.
Not the external
Not
around,
the
it's
front, not the
internal.
rear.
These internal, everything
Between-
exterior setbacks, complete conformance.
Oh, okay.
Just between.
It's just internal.
Between array 1 and 2, now there's not going to be a 400-foot separation.
okay.
And between array 2 and 3, there will not be a 400-foot separation. Because it's 200 feet on either side of the property line, which made, so it spread the project out
Yeah, so
tremendously around.
those were the internal property
That's right,
lines.
only.
Okay.
So
Each
that-
array has to be on its own lot because of regulatory requirements. So if you were going to comply with the zoning bylaw, array 1 would have to be 200 feet from the line, and then over the line, there'd have to be another 200 feet until you got to array 2, and then 200, and then the line, and then 200 feet more. And the zoning board was satisfied that it made little sense in these circumstances when on the other side of each boundary line, you're the owner and you're going to put your land to the same use, solar. But we have plenty of frontage.
Don't.
We like to hear that.
Yes, I know.
Very pleased with that.
Yes, I mean, I
Thank you
figured,
for
I figured I'd
clarifying
emphasize it because it's my strength here.
And so just to be clear, that the project is meeting all of the other requirements of the solar bylaw.
All right. All right, any questions from the board?
I didn't have any.
I'm all set.
Any one of you gentlemen?
We're not gonna walk this site or anything like that? Take a look? I mean, it's an enormous
It's,
area to look at.
it's
all of
enormous.
theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd feel a little more comfortable seeing exactly what's being cut.
Cut. More than happy to walk there with you.
I mean, if that would make you feel better, that would be, I mean, the woods are pretty dense out there. I mean, I don't know, it probably, if you just,
So we did walk it with the Conservation Commission, and while we're certainly happy to host a site visit, it is rough terrain and very difficult to get in to most of the site, particularly this time of year.
Yeah.
We did have someone going out and doing some investigations that used a machete to get through, so there might be some trails cleared a little bit, but it is lots of greenbrier, very typical scrub oak, pitch pine of, what we have in our neck of the woods.
I just rode by the thing, unless we could just put some arrows in the street or something like that at each corner.
Sure.
So that, would that be,
The best landmark in that remote location is it's directly across the street from the Ocean Spray receiving plant. There's really nothing else out there to give a landmark, but I mean, we could certainly post some stakes. There's,
Could also have a staff member meet you and,
Yeah.
take you up there, whatever you want to do.
and we would be happy to go too.
I think I'd feel a little bit better if I at least
Sure.
attempted to walk it. Like I said, I'm happy with the idea of using solar power, but I'm on the fence giving up one resource for another unless somehow in my head I can justify it and see that it's gonna, be for the good.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, we respect your position, and I just want to make sure you're aware of some steps that we've taken within the company. This land is not within the mapping of natural heritage and endangered species. Other property that's owned by the company is. And between 1,200 acres in Plymouth, building off of the state forest, and about 800 acres in Wareham, again, building off the Miles Standish State Forest. And then on the west side, by Frogfoot Reservoir, if you will, we have about 400 acres that is in Article 97 protected conservation status, and about another 400 programmed over time to go in there. So relative to cutting, appreciate your perspective, share it. What we've tried to do is where we've had to build, whether it be for conservation restrictions regarding natural heritage or endangered species, we've tried to build off that larger state forest. So there's close to, I would argue, 2,000 acres in or will be going into conservation. So as you look at this 49 acres, I think it's 49 acres out of 1,700 or so that we own in town. If you want to do a walk, we can set it up so you can call a member of our staff and they can meet you, or if you just want to go out on your own, whatever works for you.
We can do that. We can set up a time, and we could go out and take a look at it. I mean, it's.
Phil, I'd feel better, and
Right.
I appreciate that information you passed on. You know, we're, again, you know, I don't want to say that it's wrong or right, but we are exchanging one resource for another.
Right.
And you're talking about bringing in a resource that's going to be made mechanically. So I want to make sure that I feel comfortable removing one resource in order to make another.
Well, perhaps, Mr. Chairman, if we could leave it that however the board wants to organize itself, Sarah will then organize the site visit and feel whatever works for you folks and can be pulled off.
Before we do that, maybe I'll just open this up to the public. Is there anyone here that has any questions or comments? This is a public hearing. I see some people out there. Seeing no one step forward, we could close the public hearing with a motion.
Move that we close the public hearing?
Before you do, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I just wanted procedurally to point out that it's not only a special permit and site plan approval, but we're also seeking to modify the subdivision plan in
Yep.
terms of, okay, you're all over that, so that's fine.
Yep.
Okay.
Do we need to give an extension?
So we had a motion to close the public hearing. Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second?
Can we have discussion for a second?
Yes, go ahead.
You're saying that it's approximately 49 acres?
Yes.
That you're using on the parcel?
Yep.
If I did my math right, it's approximately 32 homes that couldn't be built on that parcel.
We happen to,
We did an analysis with that in mind. I'm going to ask Sarah to provide to you the salient points. But if you, good.
Just to compare one development with another, we thought we would do a comparison plan with a zoning compliant layout on the same size lot that these arrays would eventually be part of. And it's actually, Mr. Sinclair, our worst case scenario was 58 lots, just going by zoning in this area on the full lot. And, you know, we don't like to pull these things out. It's not an alternative we're looking at, but just for comparison, because it's a wooded site now, and comparing any kind of development with the existing conditions, a wooded site is going to always skew to the existing conditions. So we just sort of thought, in fairness, comparing a development to a development, it might be interesting to take a look at this in level of clearing. And I can pass this around if you guys want to look at it, but so we laid it out, avoiding wetland resource areas and buffer zones, just as we have with the solar array, and we utilize the open space component as well, and not surprisingly, it's, you know, significantly more clearing, impervious area, and a slew of other impacts. So it is an interesting comparison, and you bring up a good point that
Landing north.
it could be,
So my math was off a little.
the math was off a little bit, but we had the advantage of time and engineers, so I
I
won't hold it
figured we
against you.
negotiated down anyways.
Well, right, I mean, this is like blowing it out, but the zoning compliant plan is something to see.
Thank
So,
you.
I think the maximum lot clearing that we calculated would end up being somewhere around 97 acres on the same size lot versus the 49 acres that we're talking about for the solar array. Comparing
Yep.
apples to apples as much as we possibly could. So just kind of
I
food for
think
thought.
that's an important point. I was trying to figure out
Yes.
how many would actually be there. Actually be more clear if it was a housing development.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those against? Okay, so we've closed the public hearing. When would be a time that you'd want to, when can you get out there to take a look at this?
Probably over the course of the next couple of days, whenever's, I mean, I don't necessarily have to have you go with me, I'm just,
Yeah,
my conscience would like me
sure,
to take a look at it.
yeah.
So, you guys join me, that would be wonderful, but I just feel like I have to.
Yeah, just let me know. If I'm around, I'll run out there with you.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I can do it this week if I'm around and my wife allows me to do this on my vacation, so could we get in touch with you
Yes.
for a time?
I know, looking at my calendar right now, I have Thursday is wide open if you have any availability Thursday. I live in Carver, so I'm
Oh,
local.
okay. Okay.
So, and I work in Plymouth, so I'm,
And you would want it a little bit later, right, in the day so that you could get out there?
Just a little bit later, not too.
What
Not to
time?
be super late, somewhere dinner time, 5:30ish, 6.
okay.
5:30 or 6? Say on Thursday? So, say 5:30 on Thursday? If we could meet, say, in front of Ocean Spray?
Yeah, there's a cleared area just right next to the Ocean Spray plant that we parked with the Conservation Commission when we did the site visit for that. It's
Was before or after the
after
entrance?
heading south.
After.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yep.
all right.
It's really the only place to park. And we can meet there 5:30 Thursday, whomever would like to come. I can be there, and I can ask one of the 80 Makepeace guys to be there. They know the site very well. And there are a couple of areas that we can walk in. Can't get too far, but, the grade starts going up, and it's a lot of green briars and stuff, so I would suggest wearing pants and boots.
Did you want to be with us, or can we go along?
I actually can't make it on Thursday, but, I mean, by all means,
Okay.
if that's what works for you guys.
5:30 Thursday?
Don't know if I'll be back from New Hampshire, but I'll make every attempt.
Yeah, I will try to too, but I don't know if I can get there, but I will try to do that. We don't have to vote on that, we can just set the time. Okay, so 5:30. So we'll continue this then?
It's
So
closed.
you've closed the public hearing, so you don't need to continue it, but it'll be back on your next agenda for discussion and vote.
Okay. Great. So when so we'll need a motion to What is the actual address?
There is no
isn't
address.
one.
What it-
There isn't one since there's nothing there.
No street, it's just
It's,
Federal Road.
on Ocean Spray?
It's across from.
I can look up the Ocean Spray address. That's probably the best way, but Federal Road,
So we don't need a continuance.
No.
I don't know.
Best way to get Cranberry Road
It'll just come back on your
to
next
Federal Road,
discussion.
make a right on Federal Road, go south, and you'll see the Ocean Spray Receiving Station on your left.
We'll go by Cranberry Village on your right, and then keep going. Ocean Spray will be on your left, and just pull in right after Ocean Spray.
The only place to park.
The only place in Ocean Spray.
The only
is
safe place to park.
The only thing out there.
Road, it's a narrow road, people go fast. And then the landfill, if you go too far, the landfill's on the
And then we gotta
left-hand
worry about
side.
the bicyclists.
So, okay, so we'll vote, we'll do a meeting time.
So your next meeting is the second Tuesday in August, which would be August 9th. So this would come back on that agenda for a decision.
Okay. And we don't have to vote on this?
Nope.
Because it's a continuance. Okay.
It's not a continuance. The hearing is closed, but
The
you have-
hearing is closed,
But you have
but
plenty of time to make the
The
decision.
meeting will, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank
we're
you.
all set, and
Thank you
we'll
very
do the
much.
site, and we'll see you at the next meeting if we don't see you at the site meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next is a discussion for a sign permit, Crossroads Collision and Auto Care at 78 North Main Street.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So we want to update the sign for
If you could give us your name, please?
Eric Perkins. So we'd like to update the sign for Rotary Collision to Crossroads. And I have the drawing for what we're looking for size. It's a little bit bigger than the present sign that's there. And other than that, it's really conforming. Out front, we'd like to do solar power for lightage facing the sign. So the sign in front of the shop has a little bit of light at nighttime. Other than that, the other signs that we have are going to be lit the same way the other ones were. I've got some stuff for you guys to look at. This gives you all the information of the signs in the area. If you would just pass that down for me, and that's what the building will look like and the sign on the building as we look in the future.
You've had, Marlene, have you had a chance to look at these yet?
I have seen the drafts, yes.
Does it meet all the requirements?
It meets the size and is within the maximum size requirements for that type of sign.
Now, I see one in front of the building, and you're gonna have,
One on the building?
yeah, one on the building and one in front of the building.
Yes.
Right. And you say that the one in front of the building is gonna be,
Solar powered?
so it's gonna be solar powered. And that's all, that's good, oh, I'm sorry, we got a bunch of these. So, while everybody's looking at this, tell us about the business, please.
Well, we're gonna open up an existing body shop that's taking over from another one. We've addressed the ugliness of the building per se, by painting and doing stuff to the parking lot and things like that. So we're trying to, make something that's an eyesore a much better and usable product for everybody.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's gonna stay a body shop, so it's gonna be the same type of business that was already there. We're not really changing what was going on in the building itself.
I go by this every day, but have you repainted it and
We started to repaint it, correct?
you started, okay,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I know, it was getting to be sort of a bit of an eyesore. And then you also own the lot that's next door that used to have a fence around it where they used to park the tow cars.
No, the lot next door is owned by a tow company, so we just own the lot that the building's on.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's a little over an acre of land there.
And so you're just gonna be doing auto body repair and...
Yep.
All right, any questions or comments by the board? No? Everybody? I'll be pleased. I'll have to look tomorrow when I go by.
We'll be there the weekend painting.
It won't be until next weekend.
I think I've seen you there on Sunday, or the
Yeah.
girls out front on
Ah,
Sundays.
yeah, that's the family. They're working like dogs. Gotta love the free labor.
It's never free.
I agree.
It's family you're paying.
Yeah, I know it is.
So, usually there's a couple of things we look for, we have to do a building permit?
Yep, so we would require the building permit application, and then on your permit there, we'd say that you're allowing the solar-powered lights to be installed, just so the building commissioner knows that's part of the deal. Condition for building permit, and then you'd just sign it as approved per plans.
Okay. Well, if nobody has any other questions or comments,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the sign permit with the conditions outlined by Marlene.
have a motion, Chad, second. Those in favor? Aye. Oh,
I'm
thank
gonna
you.
abstain.
Oh.
I'm gonna abstain. I
Oh,
think I'm too
one
close.
abstention. Okay.
I think I'm too close for an apartment. A butter. I think.
So there, you don't send out notice or anything,
no, I just-
but if
for
Will
process.
just feels like he lives too close,
I don't have a
then
problem with it at all.
Then he
All
can
right.
Welcome to
abstain.
the neighborhood. It needed help.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Yeah,
So 401 is your vote.
okay. So we had 4, and 1 abstention. All right, so you're all set. We can just sign this tonight, and,
I'll give it to the building commissioner tomorrow.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
okay, thank you, and good luck with the
Luck.
business.
Appreciate
Good luck.
Then we also have a sign permit for Elite Design Kitchen at 40 North Main Street. I just went by that building the other day, and I saw that, something new there.
Yes. So hello, I'm Ashley Carey. I'm here representing for Elite Kitchen Design. We're just trying to get the approval of 2 signs that we currently have. The owners were misguided, so to say, in the process. So we, filled out the permits and everything, and here I am. So I have a couple pictures here of the 2 signs if you want to take a look and pass it around.
Have you had a chance to look at these, Marlene?
I have their permit application.
Okay.
Where's the location?
So it's at 40 North Main Street in the Landmark Center. So it's kind of set back from the street. We have 1 sign on the building. It's about 8 feet long. And then we just put up a smaller sign away from the street on the lawn. So it's visible for people driving by.
What other businesses are there?
Cutter Carpets, there's a childcare.
That's next to the Dollar Tree, the building.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
the building next to the Dollar General, yes.
So they don't have a marquee sign with, this is just gonna, they do have a marquee sign. So this is gonna be not on the
We have a
marquee.
marquee sign that was permitted, if I remember correctly, for all those spaces for the businesses in there. Oops, sorry. For all those spaces, I want to say 8 years ago, when
Is that the
Anthony
Alonje property?
Yeah.
Anthony Alonje came in and redid all that to get the apartments and stuff. So they have a marquee, even knowing that this is a nice looking sign. It should be on the marquee.
Have you had a discussion with the owner of the property about doing this and putting it on the main sign there, the marquee sign?
I personally have not. I honestly don't know if the owners of the company have. I assume that they have, because they're renting the unit from them. You know, the company's been open probably since November, December of last year. And they allowed us to put, you know, the larger sign, just like all the other businesses in the complex have. And there are a couple businesses that have signs out, you know, in front of the lawn to kind of draw attention. So that's when we decided we needed to do the same thing to get some more traffic going into the company.
But that defeats the purpose of the marquee sign though, but I don't know, how do the other board members feel about this?
Well, it's a shame because it's a nice looking sign. It's a classy looking sign. I see it every day when I head home. She is correct. There's other signs that have just been placed out there that is not on the marquee, and that's an owner thing. I don't know. If you address one, you have to address them all.
Yeah, yeah, at this point. I did notice the one on the door of the building, only because I forgot something at my house, so I had to turn around in the parking lot, and I saw that on the door. You don't have the big sign outside yet? Is that big sign out there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it
Yes,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
It's actually smaller than you would
Yes, it
think. It's
is.
about the actual sign is 4 feet and the columns are about a foot.
Okay, so it's already been installed.
So it's
Okay.
staked into the ground, yes.
Okay.
Easily removable.
Like I said, it's a classy looking sign. I think that, for me personally, I think that we should table this for now and reach out to the property owner and try to come to some resolution. They spent quite a bit of money on this sign. And if, I know that they're new to the area, they're new for that location. And if the owner of the property is not enforcing what he's been permitted for, we really should have a discussion with them, because they spent some money on this. And for him to just say, yeah, I know he permitted through us for the marquee when he cut up the building to do the apartments above and stuff.
I wonder if this could be adapted to the marquee sign? I don't know, we could table it and then,
You have
when
any
it's already there,
suggestions?
the thing is, could that be hung within the marquee if you took the legs off, or?
No, the marquee is much smaller.
smaller,
You know, it gets kind of blocked by a telephone pole, and I think there's some shrubbery there that sometimes you don't see. Even, you know, the other companies' names you can't see often when you're driving
People
by.
Drive pretty quick.
Exactly. So we're trying to have something that, oh, what's that, you know?
Definitely stands out, because
Yeah.
I didn't know you were there until I saw it.
Exactly. As soon as we got that out there, we've had a little bit more traffic, which is nice, so.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Well,
So what's the thoughts? I don't think we can approve it, because they were approved on their site plan for that marquee. But I'd like to do some research on it before we just bluntly say no.
so you could leave the sign out there, we could table this.
Just table it
Do
for
a
now.
little research, but I mean, if you were gonna hang something on the marquee, that sign would have to be modified. And it would cost some money to do that too.
That's my thoughts
Yeah.
anyways.
Can we legally do this, approve this sign tonight, or if there's a marquee, or should we do some research?
So the buildings, the wall sign, you can clearly approve that. The freestanding sign, if you remember the conversation we had, I think at the last meeting about Acme Precast and Cape Cod aggregates. And the deal with freestanding signs is you get one per building that's occupied. So this is a commercial condominium or commercial office building where there's multiple tenants in the building. And in that case, what you're calling a marquee is actually in your bylaw is called a directory sign.
Okay.
And you get one directory sign per multiple occupancy commercial building. Freestanding sign, you get one per single occupancy commercial building. So the difference is, what type of building is it? Is it a single occupancy commercial building? You get a freestanding sign like Shorey got their own and Cape Cod Aggregates got their own because they had separate buildings. Multiple occupancy commercial buildings, the bylaw says they're supposed to be in these directory signs. And then each business gets their wall sign and their window signs and that type of thing. If you don't feel like that's appropriate, you can consider changing your bylaw, but right now this is what your bylaw says.
So this sign
So
isn't according to our bylaw?
it's not, and neither are the other signs out there. The Cutter Carpets has a sign, and somebody else has a sign. I can't remember which one, but there are other signs out on that lawn area. So, you do have I can certainly call the property owner and ask him if he can come to a meeting to have a discussion with you about this but the way the bylaw is written is if it's a multiple occupancy commercial building, you get a slot on the directory sign.
I think he was permanent when he did the site plan change of the building. That just keeps coming back in my mind for those slots. So,
What are your thoughts?
We
Who's
should
about to speak?
table it till we get more information and, like you said, the other signs are there, so let's have a discussion with the property owner.
You want me to see if he can come into your August 9th meeting?
Yes, yeah. And then maybe, I don't know if there's any way that particular sign could be adapted to the marquee or not. I haven't seen it, so, or attached to the marquee. You say it's much larger than the
Than the little
marquee
slot,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
We would find some kind of use for it, but.
Could you do a larger sign, or does every sign on the marquee have to be just a certain size?
So the planning board permitted that directory sign with those dimensions, with those number of spaces for the number of units that are in there.
And you're thinking that the marquee signs are much too small for people to see
Exactly.
as they drive by.
Yeah,
That's another
which is
discussion.
why I assume
we
the
have
other
to have.
companies started putting other signs out and, you know.
you can make this mobile. You can put it out for the day and take it in every night.
Oh, you can do that, okay.
Yep, you can.
Okay.
We do allow that.
Yeah.
And they could still have the sign on the directory,
Yep.
so that's a good
Then you,
suggestion.
it's, other than wasting a beautiful sign.
Right.
Is it easily removable?
Yeah, I believe the columns go over some stake posts. that-
Okay, so you could slide it up.
Right. To take a little teamwork, have to have someone else with me, but we could do it.
When you're driving
Gotta
by.
put it
you
on
can-
wheels.
Yeah.
Put it on wheels, push it in, push it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
Maybe
It's just a
that-
thought.
To
I
verify,
hate-
yeah.
It is a nice looking sign,
Thank you.
so.
but then we have to, contend with the signs that were already placed there, and
Yeah.
they shouldn't
Well,
be
now we
there.
have to
do
anyways.
that.
So I guess we'll have a discussion, and then, I guess, just leave your sign. Maybe you might wanna see if you could make it a portable thing,
Sure.
and, so if it's a portable thing, then they don't really have to come before the planning board.
Right, so if it's a sandwich board or some sort of portable sign, you don't need a permit for that because it's not installed. And we're not necessarily worried about it falling on people or, we don't, if you're moving it in and out with open and close of business, then it's not a permanent fixture that needs that needs a building permit.
But we can approve the one that's on the building.
You can certainly approve the wall sign.
All right. Do you wanna do that tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve the wall sign that's mounted on the building only.
Second.
So a motion, a second, for the approval of the wall sign. Those in favor?
Aye. Okay.
And then we'll have a discussion with the owner, and then maybe if you could see if you can make that a portable sign, and
Okay.
then it won't cost you anything.
And will I still have to present again as a portable, or,
No.
No,
okay,
No, but
very
you,
good. Thank you,
but
guys.
she would want to maybe consider using that slot in the directory, right?
So the directory slot, the directory sign's already permitted. So the tenants those can change out without coming back here or getting any permits. Those are already allowed.
So, yeah, you could put a sign on the directory sign.
Okay, perfect.
Okay,
All right. will do.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Could
Do you
you
guys
do
want
it?
to hang on to that drawing, or did you?
do you need that? You can have it. Thanks.
Thank you.
So Bruce, you can sign that, just scratch out the other.
I'll actually,
You want to rewrite it?
I'll write the conditions none for the wall sign, and then reasons if denied, I'll write the reasons for the freestanding sign. So I don't necessarily want to alter the application, but I'll explain it in the text.
Okay, so we'll sign this tonight, and then you'll
You do your magic.
Yeah.
fill in the blanks. All right, so we're going on to other business, planning board member notes. Does anybody on the board have anything that they would?
I do have one. We attempted to have a master plan committee meeting last night. Unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum. Just to let the board know, we've had Marlene sent out a memo to all the members that if the life structure got busy or they're too busy, and they can't make the meetings, we're having a problem with quorums. So please come in and offer resignations. We're not being able to
Oh,
have our meetings because we're missing quorum requirements.
okay, so you would look for new members?
We might reduce the number of people, then we missed by one person last night to have a quorum. So. Just so
All right.
you know.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that anyway, because I did make it myself, although I am not a member of just to watch, participate. Correspondence, 2 Benson Way, Hobby Kennel.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to do the July 5th minutes?
Oops. Yeah, okay, let's go back. July 5th, 2016 minutes. Say they were pretty thorough.
Make a motion to approve as written. Well done.
Second that. Have a motion and a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chad abstains. Okay, now we'll go to 2 Benson Way, Hobby Kennel.
Okay, so correspondence, and I also included an email that I received from Sean Martin just recent Friday in correspondence as well, that your agenda was posted before I got that, but we can talk about it in this area. But first, the Benton Way. So I believe in January, I think it was, if you remember, a young lady came in and asked for a hobby kennel for her own dogs. And it was a lot of cost for her for the filing fee, the notice to the butters, the advertising, the hearing for her pets. We have another case. So I have a Mr. Abbott who owns 5 dogs. They're his pets, they're his private animals. He's not running a business. He has no intention of running a business. And before I, charge him a couple $100 here, and drag him before you lovely people, I know we talked about, and it's on my list to bring to town meeting for, to clarify the definition of a hobby kennel. But before we have him come in and apply, I asked him to just hold on, let me talk to you guys about this. But he's not gonna have a parking lot, he's not gonna have any traffic. Do you feel like you need to issue a special permit for someone's private, personal pets?
And he's allowed to have 5 dogs.
So by definition, a hobby kennel is a collection of 5 or more dogs.
So under our bylaw, he's required to come in front of us for that.
Even though I think the intent of the bylaw was probably for business purposes, but it doesn't say that. A strict reading of the bylaw is if you have 5 or more dogs, and what's happening is he's coming in and to license them with the town clerk, and the town clerk is saying, well, you need a hobby.
She's flagging it.
Yep. So he can't license his dogs with the town clerk until he gets a hobby kennel license. And I know we ran into this case just recently, and
She bred Great Danes.
yep, and she was a breeder.
Yeah.
Or she had the intention of possibly she wasn't breeding yet,
Probably
but
had the intention of
possibly becoming a breeder. He's not breeding. They're just
his dogs.
dogs that he owns as pets. So, I mean, I'm happy to have him apply and come in and take his money, but I'm not sure what he doesn't have any plans, and I'm not sure actually what we would talk about.
That's basically just so he can license his dogs.
It's so he can license his dogs.
I don't have a problem.
How do we get around the bylaw?
I mean, so here's,
What's the definition of a hobby kennel? It's just if you have 5 or more dogs?
so, let me read it to you. So really, I would say you don't get around the bylaw, you give him a special permit administratively. That would be my suggestion, is that, but let me read you the definition. Hobby kennel shall mean a single premises with a kennel. A kennel shall mean a single premises with a collection. Wait a minute, hold on. Because he's telling me he has 5. I'm not sure why the town clerk is flagging this. A hobby kennel shall mean a single premises with a collection of 6 to 10 dogs, 3 months or older, that are maintained for any purpose. that's a hobby kennel. But that would be but the threshold is 6.
You already fixed it, that was easy.
Well, kennel shall mean a single premises with a collection of up to 5 dogs, 3 months or older, that are maintained for breeding, boarding, sale, training, hunting, or any other purpose.
Not doing that either.
So she's flagging them as a kennel because of the or any other purpose. It's a collection of up to 5 dogs for any other purpose.
And so what is he doing out there? He's building a building, a kennel for these
No,
dogs?
these are just his pets.
Which he keeps
There's
in his
no,
house?
yeah, there's no structure, there's no building permit, there's no parking.
He has 5 dogs.
He has 5 dogs, and the definition says, or any other purpose. A collection of 5 dogs, single premises, it's a kennel.
And what did that, so is he putting up, so what did the other lady, did she have a special building for the dogs, or she was just putting up a
didn't.
fence?
Yeah, she was putting up a fence.
And she had to pay all the fees and,
She was breeding or thinking of breeding.
She was thinking of breeding, so it made sense for her to do it anyway. She wasn't a breeder yet, but she's like, well, I might be a breeding in the future, so her permit will allow that to happen whenever she's ready.
He just wants,
He just wants to license his pets.
he has 5 pets.
He has 5 pets, so, and technically a kennel is a special permit use.
so what's the difference between the 6 and the 5 again?
So a hobby kennel is a collection of 6 to 10 dogs that are maintained for any purpose. So a hobby,
Well, that's it, that would be your answer.
but then-
She
But
gave
a-
him the wrong information.
but a kennel is a collection of up to 5 dogs. It really makes no sense because
It
that,
says both things,
it says both things.
so we pick the one we want.
I think
Pick the
that
6 to 10 and he's all set, right?
he does not meet the definition of a hobby kennel.
Right.
And he doesn't have
And,
6 dogs.
and we need to bring these definitions
Yep.
in to town meeting because they make no sense. Because a kennel shall mean a single premises with a collection of up
to.
to 5
If you have
dogs.
one
That means
dog,
if you have 1 dog, you're a kennel.
Yeah,
Right. Which,
Is not anybody's intent here.
yeah.
So I'm confident in saying that,
Yeah, it seems like the intent was, it was 6 or more dogs.
yeah, we need to fix this, but he's not reaching the threshold of a hobby kennel, and with the board's permission, I'll just write him a letter. I'll write the town clerk a letter saying
Yep.
he's not, by definition, he's not a hobby kennel, no special permit is necessary.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then we have to look at that bylaw and read
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And the second piece of correspondence is an email. So I don't remember the date, but Sean Martin, Richard Morgan, and myself did go out and do a inspection at Pine Ridge based on the site plan that the January plans from 2008 that we're using. And this is Sean's report back. So it's just for your information at this point. I got it on Friday. Richard just got it today. So I haven't had a chance to speak with him about it, but as the zoning enforcement officer, it would be his responsibility to follow up with this, and then we would just keep the board, in the loop on it,
Okay.
updated.
And you say the building inspector is the one that's to be
Yes.
looking at this?
So the building commissioner would have to enforce the conditions of your special permit.
Okay. That sounds good to me. Yeah, I drove by there a week or 2 ago, and I was amazed at all the new construction out there. Hopefully it will be completed. Wow.
Next meeting is August 9th.
All right, so we'll go on to the next meeting date of August 9th. And so we will meet August 9th because we do have the Borrego,
The Makepeace.
the Makepeace, yeah. Makepeace,
I probably won't be here that night. I'm out of town.
Oh, you are? Okay. So with that, because it's a special permit and a supermajority is necessary, when Chad was out of town, there was a hearing scheduled. They continued it without testimony to keep you eligible.
Oh, all right.
So it was continued, nothing was said, they just moved on, you know.
Yeah.
So you have not missed a hearing.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's currently eligible. So with your permission, I would like to give the applicants a call tomorrow, explain that, you know, we told them a decision date of August 9th. However, they're probably gonna want you to be here. They want all 5 members. In which case, you wouldn't need to have another meeting until the 22nd.
Well, could he do it remotely? That was my second question.
Do you want to? Would you be
because-
able to?
Because I won't be here the 23rd either.
Oh, you won't, okay.
All righty.
So we would either have to pick a different date to where you could be here or do it remotely. Would you be available to call in on Tuesday, on the 9th?
Hey, if I can do it, Jim, you can do it.
Yep. I'm seeing where I'm gonna be that, yeah, I should be able to.
Okay, so that would be the only thing you would call in for, just for that vote. I will prepare a motion and send it out to everyone in advance because your hearing is closed. So I'll send that out to everyone in advance, so you have some time to review it, so you can come kind of, you know, ready to go. And Jim, we will just call you, call your cell phone number and,
Please, yeah.
and patch you in.
Okay, perfect. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
motion and second, those in favor?
Aye.
Then good night, everyone.